There are many other subsectors under informal sector, as we have so far understood that 92% Indian workforce is engaged in informal work sector. Informal sector. Only 8% workforce is involved in formal sector, including both government, that provides around 1% the premier jobs. Remaining 7% jobs are provided in India's organized corporate sector. But what about remaining 92%? They are involved in informal sector, including agriculture, and as I explained, around 30% population is completely dependent on agriculture. Around 25 crore women are engaged in household sector, in which 5 crores are the housemaids who provide their services in the households. But remaining 20 crore women are the housewives, to which Supreme Court has suggested the new term of nation builder. So these are the two greatest subsectors and the largest subsectors under the informal sector, agriculture and household sector. 70% of which are in urban areas, 30% in rural areas. Overall, 10 million, that comes to around 1 crore. Organized transportation sector provides 1 crore job, but a small and individually run transportation sector, including the auto and the small vehicles, around 4 crore jobs. And then green grocer, referring to vegetable sellers only, green grocers. So grocery is a large sector, but green grocery is a small sector, referring to vegetable sellers. In India, around 1 crore workforce is involved for getting their jobs in vegetable selling sector, green grocer sectors. So, what is the significance of this informal sector? This is the backbone of consumption based or consumption driven economy. The important thing is that are we going to leverage and scale up these smaller sectors? Unless our economy creates the space for leveraging or scaling up the small sector, the organized sector, the future growth is not going to come in a sustainable manner, and the problem of concentration of wealth shall continue and it shall further increase and multiply. We have to build a financial come technological ecosystem that can help the small sectors, micro sectors, mostly in informal sector, to scale up. Scale up means if their turnover is in thousands, then it could be increased to lakhs. If the turnover is in lakhs, it could be increased to crores. If it is into 1 crore, it could be increased to 10 crore, from 10 crore to 100 crore. This is what refers to scale up. Unless the small sectors, micro sectors are connected with the financial institutions and the banking institutions. How it shall happen? It can happen in both ways. The small businesses reaching out to banks, or the banks reaching out to small businesses. Have to build an ecosystem in which the banking institutions should feel incentivized in reaching out to the small sectors. So the way the middle class earners are reached out by the banks, in the similar manner, the small businesses need to be reached out by banks and financial institutions. One bank dedicated for the purpose was Bandhan Bank. For 30 years, this bank worked only and dedicatedly for the small businesses. But what has happened? Eventually, Bandhan Bank has almost left the small businesses and has tried to focus on the big businesses. So instead of Bandhan Bank scaling the small businesses, Bandhan Bank has scaled itself up, and from fulfilling the needs of small businesses, it has gone to fulfill its ambition of reaching out to the same middle class and high income group. So, therefore, we need to create hundreds of such small banks like Bandhan banks who have a dedicated mission to reach out to the small businesses, and they are ready to help them scale up their businesses. So, we need hundreds of banking and financial institutions which could create a business for themselves out of the small businesses like those businesses which need the loan benefits of as small as 10,000 to 10 lakhs. 10,000 to 10 lakhs. So we need dedicated banking institutions who are ready to devote their 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades serving only these small clients and customers. And then second is technological leverage. First is financial leverage and second is technological leverage. Here, unless the government steps in, it is not possible, because small businesses who are not able to reach out the bank, how can they be expected to hire the technology professionals? So, unless the tech professionals themselves running their small businesses, it is highly unlikely that the greengrocers or the vendors or the greengrocer, they themselves could hire someone who can help them in uh, connecting with their customers through technology. It's highly unlikely. So we need to develop an ecosystem. Government needs to step in so that the small businesses are provided the necessary technological support, like connecting them with various apps, downloading apps on the smartphone of a small business person so that they could connect with their potential customers on a regular basis. Even if they are doing their business offline, they should have access to their customers online as well. There could be many things which can be done. The minimum thing that can be done is downloading the apps, yeah, building customized apps for small businesses, the way the apps have been built for teachers, the online teachers. Similar manner, the apps for small businesses, customized apps for small businesses so that they could remain permanently in touch with their customers. So these are the two things necessary. One, the financial leveraging, like dedicated banking institutions serving only the small businesses. And they should have this mission. Not a single small business should be left out of the banking system. Not a single business person should be left out of the banking system. Each and every small business must be covered under the loan and credit facility. The way the CBIL is tracked for middle class, in a similar manner, a culture of maintaining and rewarding the CBIL for the small businesses must be developed. If 90% of small businesses are connected with the banking system, with the assurance that whenever the need, there are the banks who are accessible to them, they are going to provide loans to them. Those small businesses can't be scaled up, and if they are not scaled up, then they remain only small businesses permanently. They would once fail even in driving the consumption. As of now, they are driving the consumption, but their role can be increased to driving the production. So let's say this scaling up is necessary, but for this scaling up, the two minimum ecosystem which need to be built are financial banking ecosystem and technological ecosystems. If it is done, we can hope our economy reaching $10 trillion, in which many of the new generation entrepreneurs shall come from small businesses. An economy which fails to translate or transform its small business and micro and medium businesses into large businesses, that is a poor economy, that's a backward economy. Indian economy needs to create this space where small and micro and medium enterprises grow into the big corporates and companies. We have that potential. It is not socialism. This is the most democratic, liberal capitalism. Scaling up the small and micro ones to grow up to the large business. This democratic capitalism. This is the future of the capitalism. India, the way has led the world in other areas. In this aspect also, India can lead not only India itself but also the world economy. India has the potential to create the new model of economy that is about scaling up the micro, small and medium, micro, small into medium and medium into large, but most important, micro into small and small into large. We are going to start a dedicated YouTube channel on Artha. It shall deal with all philosophical as well as contemporary topics on economics, philosophy as well as policies and contemporary subjects. One of the most attractive topic in economics is how the informal sectors, which affect more than 90% population in a country like India, over 90% people are concentrated in informal economy. So how informal economy is going to sip and resip in future, that is going to be the real story behind economics. The organized economics, it is very important for GDP and the top 5% population. But for remaining 95% population, it is the informal economy. We can also say the people's economics is basically informal economics. 90 to 95% population depends upon informal economics. So AI and all technological disruptions on the one hand, and 95% India's informal economy is going to remain outside this formal economic or organized economics. So how actually the people concentrated in informal economy are going to fare in coming decades or the entire 21st century? The problem is that we don't have organized studies and researches on informal economics. Even the data organizations like uh, Indian Statistical Institutes and NSSO, CSO, their reach out to the informal economics is very limited, despite their claim that they deal with informal economics, but their penetration into informal economics is very rare. Most of these institutions concern themselves with data collection from the formal and organized economy. So, in value terms, it is not as significant as formal economy because mostly it constitutes 30 to 35% of GDP in terms of values, but 90 to 95% in terms of the people depending on informal economy. It also includes agriculture. And that's why GDP growth rate in agriculture has always been at 2% or sometime below 2%. But so far as democracy is concerned, people's lives are concerned, the most important sector is informal economy. It is very adventurous to know about the economic life and the livelihood of the people who earn between 5,000 to 50,000 per month. These people are not significant economically and in terms of earning, but these people are important in terms of how do they make their economic choices, how do they struggle in finance, what kind of problems they face in having access to credit, how social and cultural norms influence their economic decision makings. This is the cultural economics. This is social economics. This is the human economics, which remains outside the purview of the mainstream economics. So, in terms of value, it is not significant because even if we add entire population 90-95%, then their contribution will not reach even 35% maximum. But they are important because they are humans. How these humans conduct themselves economically, how do they make their economic choices, and what kind of struggles they face, why do they fail to scale up? जैसे बिग इंडस्ट्रीज स्केल अप करती है, वैसे स्मॉल माइक्रो इकोनॉमिक ये क्यों स्केल अप नहीं कर पाते? ऐसा लगता है कि the big people, the big businessmen, big businesses, they are born. But if you try to go behind the scene, we see कि एक सिस्टम है जो उनको स्केल अप करने में हेल्प करता है, और ये जो 5,000 से 50,000 तक अर्न करते हैं, इनको स्केल अप करने के लिए सिस्टम इनको हेल्प नहीं करता. And that's why they fail to go beyond 5,000 to 50,000. However, but knowledge about them can help us redesign our economy. The tragedy is that we don't have factual knowledge about the people concentrated in this sector. लेकिन अगर इनके बारे में true knowledge, and why I focus on this, because this has been my passion to collect information about 95% people, their economic choices, their economic struggles, their failures. Why do they fail in scale up? What is the role of system in not letting scale up? On the other hand, the moment an economic system becomes connected with financial institutions, how financial institutions help them in scaling up? No economic activity can scale up without the support of credit institutions. So, if the smaller and micro businesses fail to scale up, it is mainly because of the huge gap between the micro and small businesses and the financial institutions, organized financial institutions. In fact, our financial institutions have yet not been designed to support the micro and small businesses. So the schemes that we see in the name of funding micro and small businesses, they are mostly electoral. They're designed for catching votes. They're not designed to actually reach out to small and micro businesses to help them scale up. These are kind of electoral show off. They are around 20 crore in numbers. Even though they own properties in houses, but so far as daily wage, weekly payment, or monthly payment, it is entirely unpaid sector, and that's why after Supreme Court interrupting and declaring that house maker are actually the nation makers. So when Supreme Court intervened and tried to replace the word house maker with the word nation maker, then government of India came with a data, and the data says that the unpaid work per annum in India is not less than 25,000 crore. 25,000 crore. It means that we have a hidden, concealed economy of 25,000 crore. If it is distributed amongst 20 crore workers, then it will ensure a minimum and basic 20,000 salary to 20 crore people. This is a hidden employment. It is already there. It just requires a formalization. This is the role of formalization. A little policy push towards formalization can create 20 crore jobs. Government of India can officially declare that they have actually created 20 crore naukri. It's already there. They are surviving. They are earning, but it is just not declared in their accounts. What is to be done is what is already being received by them, it has to be formalized by opening an account in their name, and it has to be monthly credited in their account. So we can create 20 crore jobs in an era where disruptive technologies are going to finish millions of jobs. So in an era when the millions of jobs are going to be lost, here is an opportunity to create peace crore job. What I am trying to emphasize is creation of job, not by creating altogether new economic opportunities, but just by a process of formalization. So in future, when disruptive technologies are going to wash away, sweep away the jobs, especially those jobs which are done with little skill, smaller skills, so semi-skilled jobs, these jobs are facing existential finish. These jobs can be revived by formalization. सो ये एक पोटेंशियल जीडीपी है, पोटेंशियल एम्प्लॉयमेंट है. It will be reflected in GDP also. But most important, in an era when the jobs are most difficult to be created by the government, we can claim that yes, there are 20 crore jobs which have been created. It can be formalized. Now, what can be the model of formalization? The model of formalization is that the government can create a corpus fund, and the households run by male, they can be asked to make a contribution, a complementary contribution, which they are already spending on the household. The same money, no separate or new money to be allocated. The same money which is already being spent in the household, that very money needs to be, a part of it needs to be deposited in the corpus fund. And with this corpus fund, now 20 to 25,000 per month salary can be given. Then it will be real nation maker. So if we want to convert this adjective house owner into a dignified designation, that is nation maker, then what is minimum is, because the gender justice means translating the political commitments into financial commitments. So this is how we can translate the political commitment into the financial commitment. Now, household in India, minimum 5 crore. Only by formalization, we can create 5 crore jobs. These jobs are already there. They just need to be formalized. So this is again how formalization can actually contribute to creation of jobs. What we do need to do is just to pass a law in parliament. That law must declare that minimum wages are being declared on hourly basis for housemaids. It's already there in many states of India, like the state of Assam. State of Assam has a state-specific laws which determines hour basis daily wages. For example, it is at present 30 rupees, 32 rupees per hour. So if a housemaid has to work for 8 hours, then we can multiply it by 8, 38, 32 rupees multiplied by 8. But it cannot be decided on a daily basis. It should be better decided by hourly basis. So along with this, we need to also provide some insurance facilities, health, and compensation for any accidents. So with these 3-4 steps, we can properly formalize 5 crore jobs. So 20 crore plus 5 crore, 25 crore jobs, formal jobs can be created out of completely the most informal sector of Indian economy. The most informal sector of Indian economy can create 25 crore formal jobs. It needs not, new opportunity need not be discovered. No need to discover the new opportunity. What we just need to do is to step by step formalize. There are 4 to 5 steps of formalization. With all these 5 steps fully implemented, a full-fledged formal jobs is there. So in future, in informal sector, the government cannot create new jobs, but we can convert the informal jobs into formal jobs, and they will all together look like new jobs. So this is one sector. The next other sector is in terms of highest number of workers employed. It is security guards. There are 90 million security guards in India. That means 90 millions means कितना हो जाएगा? Sorry, 9 millions. 9 million means 90 lakh, 90 lakhs. They are regulated by a central government agency, और वो है प्राइवेट सिक्योरिटी रेगुलेटिंग एजेंसी, प्राइवेट सिक्योरिटी regulating agency. So this agency is responsible for registering the private security service providing companies. Under these companies, there are around 90 lakh security guard working. But this is going to be double in next 10 years, because जिस तरह के रेसिडेंशियल सेक्टर्स बन रहे हैं इंडिया में, तो अभी तो सिर्फ टीयर 2 सिटीज़ तक आए, और वो भी इंडिया के हाफ ऑफ टीयर 2 cities में आए. Around 500 tier 2 cities are going to witness the doubling of the apartments. तो ये ऑलमोस्ट 2 करोड़ लोगों को जॉब देने जा रहे हैं. 2 crores. But the biggest problem of this sector is again extreme level of informalization. Extreme level of informalization in terms of wages कम है. मतलब 9 से 10,000 के बीच में काम करते हैं, कोई कॉम्पेंसेशन नहीं है, कोई सोशल सिक्योरिटी नहीं है, कोई फाइनेंशियल बैकअप नहीं है, बैंक अकाउंट्स प्रॉपरली ऑपरेट नहीं करते हैं। अदरवाइज जिन लोगों को 10,000 पर मंथ रेगुलर इनकम आ रहे, even the banks like Axis Bank and ICICI can offer them a loan of minimum 2 lakhs, 2 to 5 lakhs. तो फॉर्मलाइजेशन के लिए ज़रूरी है कि वेजेस फिक्स होना चाहिए, इंश्योरेंस होना चाहिए, सेविंग्स मंथली बेसिस पर होना चाहिए, और क्रेडिट रिकॉर्ड स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए, और उसके लिए जो सिविल का मेजरमेंट है, तो बैंक अकाउंट्स होना ज़रूरी है. If they have a healthy bank account, they can be easily formalized, or they can be helped with the credit facilities.